I thought I'd do this video in the hope that it might help someone. Shadow has had a total of 9 Librela injections. The first injection went off fairly unremarkably, actually. The second one, I didn't see any difference. The third one, that's when he started acting a bit odd, in that he would just stare at me, or he'd walk around in circles, almost as if he didn't know where he was. Then later in that month, he started projectile vomiting. And when I say projectile, I mean projectile. It was everywhere. It was like I was knee deep in puke, dog puke. I took him to the vet, and the vet blamed it, guess what, on his age. So I had to pay for medication to try and get him to stop puking. That didn't work. But later on, at the end of the month, he was due another injection. So on the 4th injection, he yelped when she stabbed him with the needle, and he just didn't look right. I took him home, and I would say within a week and a half, I was brushing him, and he was very agitated. So I started to, play with him and pet him, and then I felt funny lumps on his back. So I left him, and I just thought, oh, they must have been there, before. But two days later, these big red lumps appeared. So I took him to the vet, and the vet said, oh, it's really his age, Anne. So everything was his age. So she said she had cream and a sterile wash that I was to use on these lumps. So I bought more stuff, and I used it, and it did nothing, absolutely nothing to them. These lumps just kept growing and growing. So the end of the month, they gave him another injection, and then he started tilting his head, almost like he had a really bad ear infection. But when she checked his ears, because I had to go back to the vet, every vet visit cost a fortune, so I went back to the vet, and she went, no, his ears are clean. But, some dogs do that. So, yeah, I left. And the end of the month, she gave him another injection, and he started pacing. He suddenly was very wobbly on his feet. He was walking just weirdly. So I took him back to the vet, and she said that, he is getting on in years, and, this is really all tied to the fact that at that time he was 13. So, and then I said to her, he was fine. He was healthy before you started this injections. are you sure it's not the injection doing this? Because it's every time, every month there's a new problem with them. And she reiterated that there was no side effects to Librela. It's more to do with the fact that he's 13. So she gave him another injection, and he didn't manage that very well either. And by the time he got to the 9th injection in December 24, he had his 9th injection and he screamed. And she sent us home. And she said that he would be all right. Some dogs react to having, monthly injections, because how would I feel having to have monthly injections? And that she might have hit the same injection spot that she used last month. All this kind of crap. So I took him home, and he collapsed on his bed looking like he was dying. That's the only way to put it. He just didn't look like a healthy dog anymore. So I just thought maybe he was, he was tired, and I had already decided, before he totally collapsed, that he wasn't going to have any more, because in my mind, this injection was killing Shadow, regardless of what the vet was saying. She refused to link all the side effects that Shadow had. He had 17 to Librela. So he then couldn't get up. He was paralyzed. He just couldn't get up. He could move his head, but only in a tilted way. He wouldn't look up at you. His head would tilt to the side. I tried to pick him up, couldn't get him up. I got a blanket that I used as a hoist to try and get him up, but he couldn't stand. I rang the vet, and this guy answered. He was a vet, apparently, and I told him, in fact, I sent him a video of the condition of Shadow, and he had the audacity to say to me, "Oh, poor Shadow." That's going to help. So I said to him, "Listen, I need a house call because I can't get him in the car. Yeah, I can't pick him up. He can't stand." So he told me, "No, I can't do that because it'll leave the vet, down a vet and down a vet nurse." So I said to him, "I don't care. You need to come here and help Shadow." And he turned around and he said to me, "No, I'm not going to do that. Get him in the car and bring him back." And I tried and tried and tried to pick him up. I'm disabled now, but I tried. I even strained my back trying to pick him up. And they left Shadow from December 28th, 2024. And they wouldn't see him until April the 1st, 2025. And then I made that appointment, and they left us sitting in the waiting room for... His appointment was at 9... I'd have to have a look. I've got it documented. It was at 9 o'clock or 9... Yeah, I think it was 9 o'clock. I'd have to double check on that. But I left at 10 o'clock in the morning after watching 4 or 5 people come into the veterinary practice, get called, and we were still sitting there. And at 10 o'clock, just before 10 o'clock, this woman walked in, and I said to her, I'm so sorry to bother you, but could you tell me what time your appointment is? And she said 10 o'clock. So I said, well, Shadow's was for 9 o'clock, and they've called every other bugger but Shadow. So the consultation room door opens, and this woman calls the woman that's just walked in. So I says to her, sorry, hello, Shadow's appointment was for 9 o'clock. And she looked at me and then shut the door in my face. So I thought, oh, to hell with this, carry on. And the receptionists watched me trying to pick Shadow up. I ended up, poor soul, partially picking him up, dragging him, and him trying to help. But yeah, and then the receptionists all disappeared into the back office, and they left me. And then the vet claimed that she came out more or less as soon as I left looking for me. It took me an absolute age to get Shadow from that practice to their car park, and then it took me even longer trying to pick him up and put him in the car. So that was a lie. But you know, if I have made videos of what went on at that practice, but if you are new to Librela or Silencia, or if you are currently using these jabs, you're going to have to look out for projectile vomiting, excessive thirst, liver kidney damage, neurological issues, mobility issues, non-stop crying, lesions, drooling, diarrhea, incontinence, both urine and diarrhea, and anemia. And now you must ask yourselves, are these drugs worth all this suffering? Because it's the vets who are profiting. They get a double whammy. They charge you for the injections. They charge you because they know you're going to do anything to try and help the dog. So the only ones profiting are the vets. You're suffering monetarily. You're suffering because your dog's suffering, and the dog is in unimaginable pain. So ask yourself, is the illusion worth all that? Because I can tell you right now, if I could turn the clock back, I would. And I'd never, ever use Librela on Shadow, or Lenivia when that comes out. So remember, a drug works until it doesn't work. But why take that risk? Your pets love you unconditionally, so love them back the same. If you were given a medication that you reacted to, would you force yourself to go month in and month out to have that injection over and over again while suffering new, harder side effects? I can tell you, you wouldn't. So why would you willingly do it to your pet? You know, the animal you claim you love. Well, ladies and gentlemen, pet owners, this is hopefully going to help you. Just be mindful of the side effects, and then make your own informed choice. Vets are considering, if they haven't already done it, to make you sign a consent form I'm so sorry, but if any vet is saying to you, you must sign this consent form to agree to have this injection, to me that screams, we know fine well, but we are shoving the responsibility onto you, the pet owner, if anything happens. Well, not if, it's more when anything happens, because they're going to take this contract out and go, but you signed this, you knowingly did it, we aren't responsible. Now, I'm sorry, no, they're passing the buck. They know these drugs are dangerous. They know these drugs have side effects. So anybody willing to sign a contract to give to your pet these drugs after seeing and hearing all the horror stories, then you must give your pet away. You must give your pet to the RSPCA. They'll look after them, because you clearly can't. If you cannot make the informed choice based on the vet giving you 100% information on every single side effect these drugs cause, then you shouldn't sign anything that they give you. Okay, alright then, bye.